Hello friends, welcome to CEC Live Lectures. Dear friends, today in this session we are going to talk in our series on environmental studies. Our topic of discussion under this series is cultural landscape and environment. And for the discussion we have with us in our studios Professor R.B. Singh. Professor R.B. Singh is a renowned professor of geography and he is currently associated with the Delhi School of Economics Department of Geography, University of Delhi. Professor R.B. Singh has a huge experience and through him we always get knowledge on various topics. Friends, we believe that you might have lots of questions while listening to our today's session, and if you feel so that you need your questions to be answered, then feel free to be answered to talk to us through our toll-free number. Our number is 1800110430. I repeat, our number is 1800110430. And dear friends, you are requested to call in the last 10 minutes of the lecture and ask questions pertaining to the topic only. Now, I would like to welcome our guest, Professor R.B. Singh, once again. Hello, sir. Welcome to the lecture.
Thank you, Gitika ji. Welcome, viewers. Today, we are going to discuss three important keywords: culture, landscape and environment. These are very much linked with each other, and so that is why I would like to bring before you cultural landscape. Initially, I would like to discuss with you the conceptual dimension between these keywords, how landscape influences culture, culture influences landscape, and how it can contribute to sustainable development goals. Cultural input is a key to eco-civilization and global sustainable development. Culture-based development provides ground to manage their own lifestyle in a more creative manner, more appropriate way, and people participate actively in endeavor of empowering the society where prosperity, happiness and creativity are to be enjoyed by all social and cultural groups. The time has come to seek a unity and brotherhood among different society and cultures. Cultural group should rise above and beyond the limitation of their geographical and cultural boundaries and contribute to the national and global development. So, the cultural dimension of environment management is not a new thing. Long back, Ministry of Environment and Forest, they started several initiatives for improving ethical and value system of society by disseminating the ideas of culture through different fairs and festivals. I would like to bring before you important environmental challenges. Recent scientific innovation need to be used to tackle growing environmental concern, and particularly I would like to mention about the Paris climate action. After USA withdrawal from Paris agreement, response of India, China and European Union for continuing with the treaty is very appropriate sign for our commitment towards nature. And our Honorable Prime Minister is taken several initiatives for International Solar Alliance in this direction. India has a great cultural diversity and variety of climate and even greater variety of weather condition, and you can see we have three seasons: summer, monsoon time and winter time. There is a need to identify challenges and opportunity for improving the human well-being through vulnerability analysis of different ecosystem and community groups, take into consideration of their cultural activity. Environment is a cashless treasure for sustainability. Farmers and fishermen harness nature on land and water to save society with food, and so that is why in this context water is also very important, and 2012 national water policy need to be revised and reoriented in the present context. Traditional medicines using genetic materials from millions of species available from the nature, and hardly we have so far focused on these aspects. Farmers are the first victim when natural environment suffer from land degradation, pollution, climate change or overuse of resources. It is a cashless treasure and not possible to measure through different type of ecosystem services. Here I would like to quote Father of the Nation: "Earth provides enough to satisfy every man's need, but not to satisfy every man's greed." Said, and so that is why said Father of the Nation Mahatma Gandhi ji, we can say that there is enough for the need of every nation, but not enough for the greed of even one nation. And so that is why we have to recognize the cultural dimension in our development process and environmental management. Here I would like to bring before you the cultural based food system. We have geographical diversity all over the country, and so that is why local community food needs. Rice culture, you can see in the eastern side, eastern northeast India, or the eastern side, West Bengal, Bihar, these are largely dominated by the what is called the rice culture, food related. But when you come to the western side, we have the more dominance of the wheat culture. If you will go to the South India, again the rice is there. Then the several millets, these are the all local materials. We have to nurture the local and seasonal food varieties. We have to see how the market accessibility can be brought near the farmers and the people, rural people, so that we can have the more and more value addition. So food, culture and sustainability, through this diagram you can understand that how we can mobilize the resources, local knowledge, local materials, local talents, and then we can improve the capacity building. But we have needs and limitations. We get food, fuel, fodder and shelter from nature. Drastic change of the global food and agriculture system is needed if we have to feed today 925 million hungry and additional 2 billion people expected by 2050. So it is very important to remember the two vital points. First, the concept of needs, in particular the essential needs of the poor, to which adequate priority should be given. Second, the idea of limitations brought by the state of technology and social institutions on the environmental ability to meet present and future needs. As we are living in an era of sustainable development. Sustainable development integrates past, present and the future. We have to evaluate the past, we can plan, analyze the present, and then we can plan for the future. Now, I would like to bring to the link with the Indian resources for an environment, incredible cultural diversity all over the country. First, northern Himalayan mountain incorporates typical land use jhum and unique transhuman presence practice together with varied cultural groups including the tribes. If you will go to the northeast India, we have a very high dominance of the forest resources, but we also got lot of degradation of the forest because of this cultural dimension, what I would like to use the word the jhum cultivation. Because when due to the population pressure, people move very frequently from one place to another place. Earlier, the gap going from one place to another place was so many years. So, when they come, natural way land regain the fertility, but now it is not possible. Very frequently they are coming to the same place. Second one, two coasts of peninsular India with rich biodiversity, estuaries, backwater ecosystem and dependent social groups like fishing community. You can see even east coast and the west coast. West coast is dominated by the more commercial type of fishing, but when you go to the east coast, you can find the villagers, few villagers joined together, they buy the fishing boat and then they go for the fishing. They can't afford even one boat by one family. So, you can understand from your own perception a very two contrast type of situation. Diverse humid to arid climates, varied rainfall and related production system, crop calendar and the life cycles. So, we have the altitudinal gradients and transects. Our vegetation varies according to the altitude. Very high Himalaya, you can get the alpine zone, the more the grazing land, where you can find the transhuman community. People during summer time they go up with cattle, and then during winter time they come down. This type of the movement is known as the transhuman. Plateau characterized by a steppe to savanna and humid mesothermic forest and dependent indigenous breed on the minor forest product. All over the country, in the whole peninsular India, we have the different type of the savanna available, forests are available, and people, sustainability and the livelihoods of the people are coming on this. Then we have a very highly densely populated part of the world like Indus, Ganga and Brahmaputra alluvial plains in the north, exhibiting continuation of traditional unique socio-economic interaction like a Jajmani system. In the villages, still you can find how one community is providing services to another community. We have traditional occupation like Nai, Dhobi, and then those who owning the land, they in twice in a year from their agricultural products, they used to share their products from them. So, you can understand from your own perception the what type of socio-economic interaction we got. We have rising million cities like Delhi, Agra, Calcutta, Mumbai, Bangalore in the south, attracting the lot of population. Earlier, few years back during the 60s, people were going to Calcutta, and Calcutta was so important that if you ask any lady during the 60s where your husband is working, she will only tell Kolkata. But he is working, her husband is working in the tea garden of Assam, maybe the mining area of Jharkhand and Bihar. But Calcutta was so important that they used to say that anybody now working east side means the Calcutta. Now the same thing, same has changed. Now those who are working in the Panipat or Ghaziabad or Faridabad, but they will say Delhi. So you see the perception of the people, this denotes our roots and the culture, our traditional affiliation with the space and time. And so these cities are also getting a land usage worse form of visible poverty. You can see in these big cities like Allahabad, Kanpur, Varanasi, even Delhi, Mumbai. Delta in the coastal region of Eastern Sea with typical mangroves and wetlands. These wetlands are occupied by the traditionally different type of the community. Livelihood totally depends on the variety of activity, and they collect minor forest products from that. But if flooding is coming, I think they are very severely affected by this process. You see, earlier in the east coast, starting from the west Tamil Nadu or Andhra Pradesh to Orissa, we had tall mangrove forests. These tall mangrove forests were also checking the high intensity, cyclonic storm, affecting to the people. But now, due to the modernization, all they have changed and converted into the shrimp cultivation, because shrimp is a very expensive fish. They export to the Eastern Asia country like Korea, Japan. They get the more income, but people are severely at risk. So, Indian culture and ethics towards sustainable human development. India is a unique mosaic of culture. People belonging to the several faiths, Hinduism, Jainism, Buddhism, Islam, Sikhism, Christianity have coexisted for centuries in this shared space. And they have a different type of lifestyle. Even for medicine, they have a own medicine. These medicines are very, very important, for bringing the health and well-being in our country. Diversity in India is not merely confined to the religious, racial and linguistic distinction, but also permeates deep into the pattern of living lifestyle, land tenure system, occupational pursuits, inheritance and succession law, together with local practices, rites and ritual related to the social norms and the values, varies from place to place. I would like to bring before you here livestock as a potential resource base for mountain community. In Himalaya, take the case of Uttarakhand, where we have the 70% lands belong to community. They have community forests. So earlier people used to get the free grazing land, but nowadays who are the sufferer and victims? People are going and free grazing. The tragedy of common, a very good example of the tragedy of commons exists in our country, and civil Siam and some other, this common property resources you can see. But due to growth of the livestock, we have intensive erosion, we have landslides, we have loose material coming to the landslips, rock falls, and all coming to the rivers and water bodies. So in short term we have the flooding, and long term we are getting the scarcity of water. It is mere so for hilly region that have a scant livelihood option beside milk, meat and related livestock products. In hill it provides the drought power to till the land and perform their agricultural operation. Urban environment degradation, it is a big threat for human health and sustainability of future earth, particularly in developing world including India. We are going for making city more and more resilient, and in this context we have to bring the lock of local knowledge and the cultural dimension, particularly for plantation. We can link with the herbal home remedy. Urban heat islands are emerging in the big city. Many diseases are coming up. We have to modify our urban planning for suiting this requirement of urban heat island. So human settlement and planning for ecological sustainability, it very important to make the development of city more sustainable. It is imperative to examine spatial and temporal dynamics and dimension of linkages between air pollution, urban heat islands and human health through spatial modeling. The concept of a smart city is coming up, and concept of a smart city cannot be uniformly established all over the country. We have to see the different type of the local initiatives coming from the people in a particular ecological and environmental setting. Emerging as environment city has a multidimensional approach in visualizing the concept of green growth, energy efficiency, multi-mode transport system, modern health and educational facility together with e-governance. The major attributes of a smart city in India are a smart governance and inclusive development. A smart governance is an integration of use of IT and communication, particularly for administrative purpose. And so that is why we have to improve the accessibility of the government organization, particularly for the public, through use of technology like e-services, social media, application and other platform. So creating sustainable city is a need of our through native solution, land use planning based on environmental zoning. In developing country, we have often mixed land usage and continuous spillover from one use to another use. This type of the spillover we have to reduce. Public spaces are often encroached and misused by land-hungry institutions and people. In this context, proper and update zoning is essential. Using geospatial technology, it is possible to prioritize landscape for public space purposes. Indigenous pollutant tolerant tree species from mango, peepal, neem, babool All these are the very should be planted, because people have a lot of respect for this. Even during the drought time, they do not cut the peepal tree. They have a very, so this will very helpful. Creation of a smart village is also very important, particularly for reviving the indigenous knowledge system. In migration of people from the villages pose a very great threat, and through creating the smart villages in rural area, we can inculcate the idea of smart village, which comprise of better communication facility. A smart agriculture can bring the prosperity, value addition to the counter argument of a smart city may be the very important, and so that is why a smart settlement development, a smart rural development is very important through idea of 6 industry, where we have multiplication of primary 1, secondary 2 and tertiary 3 industry. It requires participation at 3 levels: government level, private sector level and the local community. And when we are involving local community, then cultural input will be the very important. People's efforts for mobilizing the local community will be based on the cultural input coming through agriculture, lumbering, animal husbandry, fisheries, fishing. These are the different specific activity in the government can facilitate. The inputs required for the development and environmental preservation, and so that is why through this diagram you can see this no sustainable food consumption without sustainable food production. These are the very interlinked, but we can access through the technology. You can see here food preservation, hexanal formulation, thermal battery power milk chillers, nanotechnology, rice protection technology, efficient processing, cleaning, grading, low cost solar dryers. These are very important, but in this context we have to develop between government people participation together through a national skill development program in order to bring the smart villages. This type of productive system will be very important, and we can have move in the area of a strategy which may be considered as the sustainable smart rural development. Thank you.
With this note, thank you, sir. Thank you so much for giving us this session. Friends, you are requested to be with us, as we are going to be back after a short break and we would be discussing more. Be with us. Thank you. Hello friends, welcome back to this session. Friends, today we are talking on cultural landscape and environment. This is a topic of discussion where we have discussed a lot in the previous session, and as promised, we are here again to give you more and more of knowledge on the following topic. Friends, for the discussion, we have with us in our studios Professor R.B. Singh. Professor R.B. Singh is a renowned professor of geography, and through him, we get in-depth knowledge on various topics. Friends, through the live platform of CEC, he gives you knowledge as well as he enlightens you so that you could have a better insight into the various topics. If you wish to ask questions from Professor R.B. Singh on today's topic, then do call us to our toll-free number. Our number is 1-800-110-430. Now I would like to welcome our guest, Professor R.B. Singh, once again. Hello sir, welcome to the lecture.
Thank you, Itika ji. Welcome viewers. In this session, we will try to take up the Indian experiences, taking the different type of cultural landscape, and then finally we will try to discuss the national strategy and planning. As you know, this we have covered the most of the linkages between the culture, landscape and environment, and right away we can go to the case study. Culture based landscapes provide ground to manage their own lifestyle in a more creative manner and participate actively in the endeavor to empower the society, where the prosperity, happiness and creativity are enjoyed by all. India has a unique cultural, as we have discussed and we experience different type of the Jainism, Hinduism, Islam, variety of culture. They have different type of the lifestyle, different type of the health system, different type of the land use system. Now I would like to bring before you the interplay of natural and cultural heritage, because in India you can find a combination of this, the natural and cultural, and Himalaya may be the one very good example, where you can find snow-clad regions, the varied different type of fairs and festivals, rich cultural heritage, seasonality in climate, diverse environment, long coastal line, arc and architecture, many monumental attractions. Here you can see this, the one very good example of Nanda Devi biosphere, in Uttarakhand, Himalaya, where you can find the snow-clad zone and then the very rich biodiversity area you can find together, and very typical type of the land use system. Like I would like to give you one example of terrace cultivation. You can't find in any part of the other mountain of the world. It is not in Alps or Andes or Elbrus. You can find only in Himalaya. Very typical, like India and Nepal and all. This is a very important cultural, because people were realized long back, since century, that we have to reduce the soil erosion, and so they adopted this type of the terrace cultivation. A very intensive terrace cultivation you can find, particularly in this area in Chamoli district and upper area. Here you can see right side this one photograph of the backwater in Kerala. This area was very severely affected by the flooding this time, but you see how the people using the local materials, rice product, wood products, and how they make the boat houses. And for living in such boat houses, you have to pay 5,000 rupees to 8,000 rupees per night in such area. So, what I am trying to bring before you, we have the vast resources available, and such cultural input can bring a lot of livelihood security to the people in the local area. Here you can see hut in the Thar desert area. These huts are very important for protecting from heat or even the cold, for collecting the water. They have a traditional type of the nadin, khadin system, a bauri. In every big palisade you can find this bauri. You can semi-arid region, you can see that how these people are cultivating the hilly area. If you will go to the northeast, here you can see the Kaziranga National Park. What type of the biodiversity they are preserving? One horn, rhino. You can't find anywhere in the world. Only India or Nepal or Bhutan, only this country you can find the one horn rhino, very endemic nature of the species. This one is a tribal autonomous council also. So they have a different. If you will go, they will offer you a tea prepared in the bamboo, a very typical type of the system, but we are not able to utilize particularly for attracting the tourist. I think this all should be linked with the tourism development in our country. Here I would like to bring before you the sacred places and rivers in India. This map you can see this, the old, prepared by the one Dinah Ek from foreigner. She identified the several sacred places and rivers. How many we are utilizing? Pilgrimage tourism can be promoted. So Indian sacred rivers, very important feature since Rig Veda. Generally we call the mother rivers. Gradually rivers praise include like a central and southern India, Ganga, and other like Jamuna, Saraswati, Narmada, Godavari, Kaveri. We have the Kumbh, Ardh Kumbh, different type of the fairs and the festivals attracting a lot of. Now you can see here how the Ganga along the Ganga rivers, Godavari rivers, Narmada rivers, Kaveri river, everywhere, all very sacred rivers. River tourism, hardly we have utilized this river tourism particularly for the sustainability, for livelihood security. See the map of Sangam, Allahabad. Here is a sorry typical. They celebrate this year also in 2019. They are going to have this big Kumbh Mela there, where the people from all over the world they come for taking bath. So our rivers are not a Thames river, where the people in foreign country they are using, in Britishers they are using for the recreational purposes. Our sustainability, drinking purposes, daily the people living along the Prayag or people living Varanasi, Kasi, you see how many people they take daily bath. So it is very much linked with the cultural tradition of our people. History of pilgrimage tourism is a very long history. Jamunetri, Gangotri, Badrinath, Kedarnath. But I am taking you the one example, weather communication system. So much tourist can be, linked with these four, Gangotri, Jamunetri, Kedarnath and Badrinath, but we do not have the communication system. A small aircraft, because tourists, foreign tourists, they do not have much time to travel one day going from Rishikesh to Badrinath. If we can make the the small aircraft and better communication system, it is possible to create a lot of livelihood security of the people. No doubt our Prime Minister recently visited at Kedarnath. This will generate a lot of the interest also in that area. Two coasts of the peninsula with rich biodiversity, already I highlighted about this, but you can see the more closer view, how they have made based on the local knowledge and cultural resources these houses. No doubt investment needed, but Uttarakhand did lot of investment in this, then Maharashtra, Karnataka, but still in many states, Rajasthan, West Bengal, Tamil Nadu, Uttar Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh, we have very less investment, and investment should be encouraged by the state government and also by the central government. I am taking example of Brahmaputra Valley. It is a very important symbol of cultural heritage. The whole valley of the Brahmaputra has architectural remains of ancient and medieval period. Many of these buildings, especially temples, were built on the bank of mighty Brahmaputra and numerous tributaries. Thus, Sadia in the east to the Dhubri, westernmost pass of Assam, you can find several such type of the temples, fortification, bridges, cultural complexes. If you go as a country like Japan, where a small villages you can find the museum. Hardly we have the museum, maybe in Guwahati, but not in a smaller places. Some of these places have over the centuries continued to play a prominent role in political and cultural life. Now I am putting before you this map, and you can understand that how starting from the Manas, Nemeri, Kaziranga, Majuli, Dibrugarh, these are the very, very important site, Bihu festival site. These all are the very, very important. I am going to take this they have a different type of food items, during they cook during the Bihu, and this attracts a lot of. You see Aswankaranta temple, Assam. This is devoted to Lord Vishnu and the presiding deity here. It is believed that the performing the last ritual here on the bank of the holy Brahmaputra river washes all sins, and provide him a place in a heaven. This type of the perception we have. Here you can see the temple, how old this is, very important. Now you see the Bhubaneswari temple, Assam. This ancient temple dedicated to goddess Bhubaneswari, another form of goddess Durga, also hold, Kamakhya Devi. You can see this, that how many people, going and visiting this temple. Beside being a Hindu pilgrimage destination, temple is also noted for offering, variety of other, opportunity in surrounding area. Here you can see this, the map of the Bhubaneswar Temple. I would like to bring before you the Majuli. That is a very word cultural, it is a hereditary site. It is called the jewel in the midst of Brahmaputra, is a land of diverse beauty. The word Majuli means a cultivated land in the middle of the fresh water course. So you can see we have to utilize this, resources, this knowledge, this, material, particularly for providing the improvement of the livelihood security of the people. Considered to the most popularized river island in the world, this island is encircled by the mighty Brahmaputra in the south and tributary of Lohit, Kharkatia and Subansiri in the north. Recently I visited the Lakhimpuri to the NHPC area. It is so important, the sites, particularly for attracting not only so one can see the combination of the cultural and the natural side together in the Himalaya. Here you can see the Majuli island, this photograph, and you can understand from non-perception the type of problem. Pandunath temple, another is a very important famous, this temple is dedicated to Lord Shiva. Here Sri Pandunath temple, but you see, if you will go to these rivers during the monsoon time, we have lot of the pollution, and there is a one statement here I am telling that tourism destroy tourism. Due to tourism, lot of the we do not much caring these rivers, and we have a lot of the pollution also, and said next time this discouraging the people to come again. So these aspects also we have to look after. Here you can see the pollution problem in the big cultural area in the city. You can understand from own perception how along the rivers we put all different type of the waste materials. I hope Swachh Bharat Abhiyan will improve. What I am trying to bring before you, that these cultural landscape and site should be considered as important sources of livelihood. We can link also other livelihood available like agriculture, horticulture, animal husbandry, a small scale industry, forestry, tourism, government center, all can be linked with this. Here you can see livelihood through tourism, cooking classes. Lot of foreigners even come for learning the cooking college. Ayurveda house. You see the in Himachal Pradesh or even Ladakh area, you can find the people home stay is a very important, particularly for the tourists. Here you can see in that Dharamsala area, a special wooden flute at Bhagunas market, a man hilly region sell medicinal vegetable at Kachari, a local person cleaning ears of a foreigners. You see these all are a very important business and the cultural route. I know many people from the Delhi going to Dharamsala because there are many old baths. They are for treatment of the cancer, So health related also several cultural measures. These days many people going to the southern India, they have the natural treatment of based on the using the local soils and the plants and and they are getting relief from the different type of diseases. So really livelihood from temple tourism and all can be very much linked, and we have to revive the Indian conservation measure as a cultural input to development. Here I would like to tell you one example of Johats we have discussed earlier also. Johats in Alwar district, or even the Sukhmajri in the Arauli area of Haryana, where the community coming together, they constructed the water potential in that area, and then they share the equal share from the water. So those who are not owning the land, they also have a right on the water, and they can sell to the land owning community. So in this way everybody is very happy. So I think we have to revive the Indian conservation measures. You can see what happened in the prosperity in the Alwar district. Earlier people used to migrate in Delhi, Gurgaon for jobs. Hardly 10, 12, 15% area was cultivated, but due to the when they check the monsoon water and they are able to create the water potential, almost 70-80% areas are now irrigated. They are cultivating not only the staple food crops but also the cash crop. They are selling. Farmers are becoming more and more richer. Water is very important in the hilly area. You can see this one example of Johats near Gopalpura in Rajasthan. Here how they brought the prosperity in this area, in this whole desert. So, I would like to tell you this, we have to look the future perspective and development and environment, addressing the needs of the local people regarding the conservation and development, including tourism. Maybe tourism and environment linkages we will discuss next time. Local communities should actively be involved as stakeholders in the protection of environment. Village museum, rural tourism, Buddhist circuits, these are the important initiatives, but very, very important. Tourism should not increase the pressure on local resources, and so that is why the alternative energy resources, like I am taking example of hilly area. Lot of people use the wood, but if we can provide the LPG, gas and all, then we can reduce the pressure on this. Adequate disposal of human waste and other garbage, connectivity, security, hospitality is very, very important. We have to make a national strategy, or national strategy, cultural strategy should be based on our culture, knowledge, on utilizing the sustainable production and consumption at a local level, so that we can reduce the health risk, diseases, and then we can improve the farming of the farming community. Alternative livelihood options like medical tourism, Indian medicines, particularly for southern state, green base space and green building, these are the very, very important. And here you can see a strategy to improve the resource productivity. Now you can see this clean processing, clean energy technology. Solar is also a clean technology. Processing, emphasis on material, less material per unit, larger share of material from recycling industry. Resource recovery is very, very important. How we can make the resource recovery from these waste, better modeling of component, and we have the several examples. You see this rock garden in Chandigarh, where from the waste how they have converted into the resource, and so many tourists daily coming and visiting to that area. And so we can move for achieving the environmentally friendly eco products. Traditional knowledge generation, few minutes I would like to devote on that. We have to understand the effects of global environmental change and resource crunch of the people, contribute to resolve the nexus between the basic needs of new rural people, human well-being, urbanization, governance, identifying socio-cultural, economic, institutional, political barriers, opportunity and mechanism to promote balance between need, desire, growth, resources, development and management. Analyzing different type of interaction, horizontal interaction, vertical interaction, and coherent relationship between sector, governance and implementation. And so, I would like to bring before you that we have to bring culture based human development indicators, and I would like to give example of Delhi Human Development Initiative can best be understood from the framework of driving force and underlying the forces, pressure of environment like population growth, industrial growth, consumption pattern, pressure like human activity, a state as an analysis of the past trend and projection of the future, and impact the people, land vulnerability, pristine land, response the current proposed societal view. So, this framework could be adopted as an analytical tool in the prioritization of the key indicators. I think policy makers should take a lesson from such type of the initiative. What I would like to say, the culture based human development indicators. I already indicated you the traditional healthcare facility, lot of potential. 1.2 billion people are served by merely 4.5 million doctors, and thus health inequality, equity exists. all the major doctors are concentrated in big city, metropolitan city, mega cities. So in rural area, this traditional healthcare can bring a lot of change, and doctor to patient ratio is 1 per 1,200 people, one doctor per 1,200. So you can see here role of the indigenous system is very important. Indigenous healing, studies of tourism is very important, and so from shifting our focus from illness to wellness, promoting the medical tourism is very important. I would like to give you example of the millet. Through millet we can make the several type of the medicine from treating cancer, diabetes, heart related, blood related stress problem. Now you can see in investment in traditional food and health technology, human well-being has been a very good success in India, but we have to bring new technology, production techniques, and globally increasing important science policy interest for creating the environmental stewardship is very important. And finally, I would like to conclude that culture based initiative is significant for achieving sustainable development goals. Cultural scientists and geographers need to contribute by analyzing local, regional and national pattern of resources, pilgrimage geography, local knowledge and sustainable development. The construction of cultural civilization concern humankind for their future landscape, and the conservation and cultural environment is responsibility shared by all humankind. Coping with modernization and change, protecting cultural landscape and maintaining cultural security need collective initiative from all Asian country, religion and society. In this context, shared initiatives are necessary requirement for embracing the new area of composite culture and a fundamental requirement for achievement of both sustainable development goals and cultural understanding. Thank you very much.
With this note, thank you, sir. Thank you so much for giving us this session on cultural landscape and environment. Dear friends, we believe that if you have any question after listening to this session, feel free to write to us at info.cec@nic.in. This is the ID where you can put your questions as well as your feedbacks too. So friends, we are taking you leave with the promise that we are going to meet again soon and would be discussing more in our series on environmental studies. Keep watching us, keep writing us. We are going to meet again. Till then, take care. Goodbye. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.